Hello everyone, this is Wolf. We're back for some more Minecraft. So today, as promised, or at least continuing today, we went unbusting a little bit. Got some decent loot from that, and I've used this loot already to make a decent hoe. Unfortunately, while collecting materials, died and had to go rescue my stuff, so that happened. With that said, right now the plan is, and I need to clear up some stuff from my inventory. So, probably won't need that on me. Okay. So, I just had to go through, clear a few things out of my inventory. I've gone and collected a bunch of moss to make mossy cobble. I've got my cobble deep slate, or to make mossy stone bricks, sorry. And I've got my stone to make more stone bricks. I also have all the materials needed to make the roof, including all of the detail blocks for the roof. This is going to be expensive, especially the deep slate redstone, but it's okay. That is okay. That's a fairly small thing in the grand scheme of things. So I've got that going through here, making me all kinds of crackstone bricks. So the next step in things here is for me just to continue the walls, bring them up to the appropriate height they're supposed to do, and frankly, continue this aesthetic over here. Okay, I love the way this came out. This is just perfect. But I need to recreate the aesthetic for the rest of the build. So there will be a fair bit of work with walls and everything, but in the meantime, we've got our foundation in place. Now let's finish it off and smooth it out. And I may do some decorating of the interior, like this is going to be my storage room, and it is not done yet, but we'll see. So with that said, if I could remember how I stored my things, let's grab a decent supply of resources to build with, and I'm going to be that guy who wants everything organized in a specific way. There we go. Nope, it's this one. Okay. Let's grab a bunch of the stuff and let's just start tackling it. Okay. So, same thing before. Oops. Swap these over. Same thing as before. I've got the corrected mossy on one side, on either side. I'll be juggling back and forth. This is how I built the walls. This is how I built everything related to them. Right now, we're just kind of in the foundational stage of things. So, I think one of the first things I'm going to do is raise this up. I do want this wall a bit higher in here. Thinking on it, yeah, it isn't as comfortable as I was hoping it would be when I first created the space. So just add that up a little bit. It'll create this little more lofty feeling to it all. So since this is going to basically be buried underneath what's going to go here, I also need to build up the panel, the platform for what's going to go there. And I want to finish that off and detail this, which this side is going to be visible and exposed. That will be visible and exposed, so it's like, I mean, some of it, I'll probably terraform a good chunk of that, actually. But this stuff right here, I mean, I need to detail this, because this is no. So. And this is how I detail things when I've already built up a base like this. I know others have, you know, their preferred methods, and some of them are just, oh, come on. But this is what I like to do. And apparently I'm not able to pick anything up right now. Uh-huh. There we go. So I also will need to include this in the extension that goes upwards. So yeah, we're going to build this up a bit. I am not used to having an elytra while doing this. That was annoying. So this right here, I will use kind of like a cutout thing in there to detail that. So that's okay. I'm not worried about that. So work our way along here. Probably hear my kitty cat in the background. He's not too happy about being in the bedroom right now, but right now is one of his favorite times to watch the birds outside. And now he's looking at me like he's so upset that I know about that. Oh. Alrighty. So we're gonna bring this up to roughly the height of what's here, and I think that'll be good. And there we go. Okay. Now that that's been brought up here, most of this area right here is going to get covered under the feature that's the main feature that's going to be here. So let's next bring another of the features to the appropriate height, because this is going to be not the final height for this, but there is going to be an overhang a bit. So I would like to have that kind of established next. Or established before I continue working on that space. I think just because it's going to bug me if I don't do it, I'm going to close this area off. It's not going to be visible. No one's going to be looking in here. I'll close this off too. It's not going to impact the effectiveness of the farm or anything. It's just going to be a mild change of the aesthetics. Pardon me. That's why I'm not too worried about how this area is going to look. It's all going to be buried underneath the floor of the main castle. So, there you go. That's all nice and closed. I had originally some ideas to put a couple of different farms up in the top of this, and I think the time for that will come, but not really relevant right in this moment. So, drop down to here. So let's build this tower up to the final height that it's going to be. Okay, and we can also do some similar stuff here. Oh, sorry, had to crack my neck. If you heard anything, don't be alarmed, that's pretty normal. Come on, there we go. I think this tower should probably go up about... You don't want the towers to overshadow each other, and obviously that's a chunky tower over there. So I think this one should probably go up another 6 blocks. Put it about 3 blocks taller than this. I know, we'll see where that brings us. Probably just incorporate in the wall here, and at least up to this level. That's 4 blocks. And that's 6. So this tower will stand out from the courtyard area and the approach. It won't seem as, sturdy or fortification intended as that one is, but it won't overshadow the main castle that's going to be here. I think I can go up another 2 blocks without running into that issue. Let us see where this takes us. And yes, I do use a lot of stone brick. Kind of unavoidable. Oh yeah, I like that. And then I can put the roof on this and have kind of a... Okay, yes. I can do a lot here. Okay. I do want to have this kind of like gradually go up, so I don't want those right there. But I do want the tower to be kind of separate. And there will be an access point. I will put an access point into this. And yeah. Okay, got that. There we go. That's a little more gradual. This outer area is going to be a part of some of the more detail-oriented work that I'm going to do, so I'll probably have like a staircase to go into the room that's going to be in here, so don't need to worry too much about that. This is where the gatehouse is going to go, and the gatehouse is going to be kind of tricky, so it's going to stick up above the remaining, up above the other portion of the wall. I forgot to light that up. Just watch, a creeper's going to fall on my head now. Should be enough. Oh, I'll worry about that later. I do want there to be kind of a rickety little walkway to access this, so that's going to be a little tricky to incorporate, but it could be fun. That's the other part. This is all meant to be fun. So, let's go over here and get this sorted. Now, I know I have these just roughly eye brace shapes here. I'm going to beef them up a bit on the outside and raise them up 1 block, or beef them up on this side and raise them up 1 block above the remaining sections. If I could put words together. Nope, not gonna make it. Oh well. Actually, why is that even an issue? I can just till her up. So now we've got this semi-sturdy base in here, we can then add in our next layer of beefiness here and continue raising it up. I think that's it. That's all I'm going to need. So once there's a roof on it, it will feel much more natural. Yeah, okay. And we'll be doing a lot of the detailing on the exterior as well, so I've got lots of bamboo planned for that. Alright. The next little area I wanted to work on, now this may seem like a lot of small little steps, but it's not. It's intentional, that we need to do it this way. I just paused the game so I can explain. We need to do it this way so that way we don't have to stop and go back to grab the blocks that we forgot about. That's why shape is really important in a build like this. Is finishing up the individual shapes allows you to just not have to go back. So for this, I am going to do a little setup like this with just regular stone brick. And then because it's me, I'm going to multiple times place bricks in the wrong place. Oh, I'll have a random cooked stone brick somewhere. Going to do that. Imply that it was designed, and then right here is going to be a piece of glass. So you can just look down inside. Alright. Now, this section of the wall, it's okay if it kind of comes into this area because it is going to be an access point. So I won't need to worry too much about that. This area is okay, though I do want to add some crenulations to it, and right now is the time to do that. Whoop! Klutziness strikes again. So. Okay. I'm thinking 2 space 2. Oh, that lines up perfectly. We can do that, and then we can do something decorative with like a wall or something there. Okay. Which means I can continue this pattern onward. Too many issues. I think for this one right here, I'm going to do a 3 wide. Should allow me to continue the pattern without interruption. Create a certain amount of symmetry, which will be beneficial. That has brought us over to here, which this should break the lining anyway. So, now because this is still going to be going up a little bit, there's going to need to be some more height to this wall. So let's bring this wall up 4? Yeah, 4. If that were to bring it 1, 2, bring it up to that height. Let's bring it up 3 blocks. Then we'll do the roof to add the 4th block beyond that point. Goes the wool farm. That is still super satisfying just to watch. Oops. I need cracked brick. There we go. Done with the crack there, but that's okay. So, and just continuing to add the randomness in here. The randomness does a lot of good for the overall feel of the build, though. So don't feel like random is something you have to really try and plan with. I'm putting a little bit. I would be lying if I said I was putting none, but I'm putting not a ton of thought into this. So, with that said, we now have our upper area here. So let's move along and place a few torches down so that way things don't spawn up here. Okay. And let's throw a basic stone floor in here. So, the way I envision this working is there's a door right here. So let's knock this one out. And you walk in the door and you go down a little bit, or you walk over here, you go up a little bit, and there's another door here. So how I would do this if it were just me designing this, which it kind of is, I would bring the floor down a little bit and have like a storeroom area here. And most of this space, by the way, is going to be decorative. There's not going to be any farms or anything in here. I think at most I may put like a super cooker or something in here. Okay? So there. Let's go starting at this level and put down just a basic floor, basic temporary floor. This will be the servants' quarters, so its floor is going to be pretty utilitarian, and the interior is going to be fairly utilitarian as well. Just a lot of stone brick. So, and I'm not going to, since this is probably just going to be a temporary floor until I come up with whatever the final decorative design is going to be, this is just going to be basic stone brick. Something I have a lot of, and it's not difficult to get a hold of more. I think it would probably be easier if I just did it from here. Now, fun little fact, mobs cannot spawn on redstone dust. But even then, this area should still have plenty of light from below that things could spawn here anyway. Yeah. Let's do that. So oops. I love this thing. There we go. Now we are completely encased, and this whole area is pretty well, except for probably over here, there's still 3 block light. This is still pretty well lit up. So I will not need to worry about mobs spawning in here. That will have our staircase down to here. We can have a storeroom, we can have other things in here, and then over here we can have a staircase going up. Probably the easiest way to do this would be to have you walk in a little bit and you go up a little bit. And this would be the next floor. So the reason why I'm doing this is that I do want to have a baseline for me to start actually working in things. That might actually be too high up. That's better. Okay. So now that I have this here, I can just start adding in, even though it's a small little detail, it adds to the oops. Okay. Adds to the realism of the whole thing. They're making the available space work. So an important thing to understand about medieval castles is they weren't planned in the sense of the way we think of a construction project being planned. The vast majority of them were done out of a need to fill, or a desire to fill a very, very specific immediate need, either in a housing related matter or, unfortunately, fairly often due to a crisis. And they aren't the crises that you would inherently associate with a medieval castle. So what I mean by this is that, by and large, your average medieval castle was not built to be the palace to the king or to be a fortress to stop the French. It was built because Lord such and such from on the other side of the river decided that he was going to jack up the price of pumpkins. And so, because he was jacking up the price of pumpkins, you weren't able to continue to be in the market there. And in order to control, this is something that really needs to be emphasized, and I should probably light up down here. Really needs to be emphasized about how medieval economies worked. We think of the economy as something to which we interact with regularly. That wasn't the case in medieval times. In the case in medieval times, the economy was something that people just sort of like, oh, okay, dealt with. It wasn't that intrinsically important. But in the case of the nobles, the economy actually had pretty significant impacts on their lives in ways that you wouldn't immediately discern. Like, you'd think, oh, they're concerned about losing money when they have to buy pumpkins, ooh, boo-hoo. It's not so much that way. If one lord had a rival, and that rival was able to corner a particular resource, let's say pumpkins. I know I'm pushing the metaphor too far, but yeah, let's say it's pumpkins. Then that resource would be scarce. You would have to buy it from your rival lord, which you wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Chief among the reason why you wouldn't want to do that is, well, now your lord is saying, hey, even he's buying stuff from me. That must mean I've done a good job. When the opposite could be true. But also, more often than not, the rival lord did it explicitly to hurt you. So I know pumpkins seem, kind of arbitrary, and to an extent they are. But this is how the economy at the time worked. Something would be changed either by the king or by another lord, and the lords would scramble to try and adapt. That led to them building castles. That led to them undertaking these massive infrastructure projects, the likes of which, frankly, are way downplayed by modern society. But they had enormous impacts on where something was built. Because if Lord such and such is going to be concentrating his efforts on increasing his wheat crop yield, then you need to make sure that, okay, well, you're going to have an equal amount of food. So if you grow potatoes, or, well, not necessarily in medieval times growing potatoes, but if you grow a different product, you have to account for that. You have to make sure that you're able to account for that. Now this corner here is going to be kind of weird, because it's going to have the roof of the gatehouse arch go into it. So I think I'll just leave this here uncovered for now. We'll apply a few torches here. We'll come over here. And did I really cut out that hole? I did. There we go. Much better. So, if Lord such and such from the other side of the river raised the price of pumpkins and was using that to generate funds, you needed to make sure that you could compete with him. Even if that meant that you had to stockpile pumpkins in order to drive up demand. Well, that may necessarily ensure that, hey, he's not going to make as much money off of this action. It also has the unfortunate side effect of meaning that now you're a target. This is where I was trying to get to it. You're now able to understand the actions of your rival lord. And the rival lord doesn't want that. The rival lord wants to maintain as much mystery about what they're doing as possible. So they will then react to then building a wall. Oh, you have your large storehouse, they built a wall. Okay, fine. That's not a big deal. But then what do you do next? They built a wall, you don't necessarily know what they're going to do next. Is that something that you want to allow as a nobleman for your rival? And now we get into the competitiveness of the unfortunate competitiveness in the medieval era, which is where the castles then came in. Because, as with many things in the time period, castles very frequently became about the wealth and phallic measuring contests of the nobility. That's how they all sprung up, is it was just on a whim. My father built the storehouse, his grandfather built the wall, I'm building the horse stable so we can have enough horses, that type of thing. So thinking about this particular tower, you saw nothing. Do we get back in? Okay. Thinking about the castle and this particular tower in question, I'm thinking it might not hurt for it to be a couple blocks taller before I would put a roof on it. And so this whole conversation, well, mostly one-sided, but this whole conversation is about understanding the logic that went into the progression and construction of castles. It was an as-it's-needed type of project. Didn't really necessarily plan to build the largest and most capable fortress unless you were the king. In which case, you probably instructed one of your lords to build it for you. And that lord had to do it in a certain time period. So they usually would just say, I want here, I want this type of fortification here, here, and here. And the engineers and construction personnel would just get it done. Which is how you get things like Balmoral Castle, which is notoriously drafty in the winter. And I think that'll work. It's a bit higher, it'll stand out more, and we can have I do want there to be another rickety little, kind of, when I say rickety, what I'm talking about are these over here, is this over here. This kind of haphazard slapdash kind of design thrown together in order to connect two areas. It doesn't look stable, but it is. Random egg. There's a chicken in there. So, but anyway, that's what I'm trying to get at when it comes to this castle here. I do want there to be a lot of like, oh, we built this up and, oh wait, crap, we can't get to it. Okay, let's build a little bridge off the garden to get to our new, honestly, probably the best thing that this would be right here is a mounting platform for a siege engine. So let's delve into the realm of medieval military tactics for a moment. Really, guys? Let me sleep real fast so I can get rid of these guys. And yes, this is for the collection area at my mob farm, but I keep a bed down here because it's guaranteed that I'm not going to be attacked by mobs or anything, and they're not going to disrupt my sleep unless they're, you know, directly above me. So, as a part of the design here, it does help to understand and explain why I'm doing certain things. Okay. It was a little harder than I intended. So, you have your castle. You're a lord. You've built a castle on a natural high point on a hill, and you have plains to two sides, water and forest to the other two sides. Okay? Strategically speaking, you would want to make sure that the majority of your men are on this side of the castle. Why? Strategically speaking, any attacker is going to come from the plains. Why? It's easier to form up. It's easier to move things. Specifically, it's easier to move in things that could knock down your thick walls. You can't do that from the forest, and bringing them on their boats are less effective in a whole. So what you would generally have is a bunch of men lined up on the walls in this area to protect the castle, maybe some in this area, but not much. And then in strategic points like this, where you could still engage in an enemy approaching your gates, you could cover forest. Put some naphtha, some pine pitch, and a fair bit of tar in a pot, set it on fire, and launch it into the forest. No one's going to be marching through the forest when it's on fire. Can't necessarily do the same thing to the plains, but Sometimes you can. So that's why all the walls on this side are imposing, they're high, and there's this gigantic tower here, which is a beast of a tower. Okay? Because any enemy attacking from this direction is immediately going to realize they're going to take heavy casualties trying to approach. Any enemy trying to attack through the forest is going to be repelled very easily due to the limited ability they have to see what's ahead of them. So every enemy is pretty much going to attack from this vector. Okay? And frankly, I accidentally was holding down spacebar. The most logical place for them to attack would be to land their ships out there, which I don't know if I've shown you guys this from the air, but it's pretty dang cool. There is a natural, a river and lake system, of course, through here, but it naturally connects up to, this is still fairly deep, the ocean. So you're an attacking army, you're not going to deal with this. You're going to land your troops here, you're going to form up along the plains, and you're going to march. And you're going to march, and you're going to be funneled in by the river. And let's see. I think I have some spiders that are clogging up my mob farm. Anyway, but you're going to march in. That's lovely. You're going to realize that if you continue along that path, you're going to run into the high walls and you're going to suffer heavy casualties. So you're going to divert and you're going to march through this area to get to the main gate. Hey, Mega Wolf. I'm just talking about the design philosophies that go into the castle while I continue working on building mine. I'm building up the walls a bit and I'm adding in some more details. So, I was just discussing how an attacker would approach the castle and why it would be a supremely bad idea for them to approach the extremely tall walls or to try and go through the forests. So it influences the design of the castle. That's what I was getting at. So, with that said, I think I'm ready to start working on this next little bit here, and this next couple of bits is going to be quite dramatic. So this tower right here is, I'm glad you like it. This tower right here is going to be tall. It's going to be taller than that tower. But before we do that, I want to bring this section of the wall closer in height to this portion here, but I want to add a change to it. So, hence the whole defensive measures conversation, is we have these out here, naturally a part of the design. It just makes sense. Well, why don't we add on to that by building out just a bit and adding a bit of overhang here. That'll make the walls seem thicker, more imposing, taller even. So. And you'll notice this a lot in castles. So if you've watched Game of Thrones, the Red Keep masterfully does this. It makes what are actually fairly fragile walls seem so much more prevalent. Oh, I've already been grinding for hours, dude. I've got tons of materials lined up for this. So, what the Red Keep does is it has this extremely, and I'm just going to call it chunky because it is chunky, look to its walls, even though structurally speaking, it's a really, really poor design. I mean, it's got flying cantilever buttresses, it's got overhangs on its overhangs, but it's intimidating as all get out. It makes any attacker think, Oh, that's okay. The Red Keep is the main castle where the King of the Realm lives. So, but yeah, it is a tall. I think George R. R. Martin revealed that it's like 280 meters tall. It's huge. So. Alright, there we go. See how I have that overhang here? It's carrying along the line from the overlooks. And we can then smooth them together, but it makes the castle look so much more intimidating. See, flat wall looks tall and long. Popped out wall, which I will add details in. Oh my. This looks a lot more... I can't attack this, I'm gonna die. Alright, let's go... Whoa! Too fast. Alright, let's go and bring this up the remaining couple of levels to bring it to parity with this section of the wall. That appears to be 4 blocks. Okay. That... but it just feels so much more imposing with such a larger structure. Even these simple changes in the shape do a lot for it. So, say what you will about the finale of Game of Thrones, it accurately predicted what would happen if the Red Keep was properly attacked by a siege. Even though in that case, that siege was a dragon, it still... Yeah. Like, I would not want that castle to be my keep in the event of war. It would not hold up. Alrighty. Oops. Now that we've achieved parity with the height of this wall, I could bring the tower wall height up as well as that, but I think I might do... So what's going to go right here is a staircase. So I might do a switch back there, so I may leave that as is. This section of wall is going to definitely need to be brought up, and we'll definitely need the same treatment that I just did here to it. That said, let's look at this from a distance while we still have the light. Oh yeah, that's doing it. That is really doing it. Alright. Okay. It would appear that this is the height that I did that at, so... Good place. Just continue this. Though I don't have enough bricks to finish this portion off. That is okay. So what have you been up to, dude? I don't know if Ryan's still in the chat. Oh well, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Alright, so we're going to continue on. I want to leave this like that. I like having the cave down there. Alright. I don't know quite what I'll do here. Most likely I'll do something similar to what I did on the far side. And every 2, raise it up a block. That will work quite nicely for that. Can I reach from here? Oh, well. Let's grab some more of these. Should be good. Oh, I can't do it from here anymore. Run across here. No worries. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Nope. I'm good. Oh, okay. I'm still a klutz. Let it be known on my gravestone, I want it to say, and he was still a klutz. Okay. Alrighty. So, with this section right here sticking out and popping out like that, I may need to tweak this with just the roof line in the area. But that's okay. Bringing up the wall just another block might do what I need it to do. Okay. Alrighty, with this little bit popping out like that. Let's see. I honestly would like to continue the wall, but I don't want to have too much terraced up. So it's likely what I'll do is I'll just continue building up right here, and then I'll blend it together with what I do in this space. Yeah, that seems to be the best course of action. Let's see. Dog outside that is really excited. Y level on that one. Y level on this one is 88. 1. So I need to go up a total of 7 blocks from here, which means I need to go up a total of 3 blocks more. Maybe make it up high enough to actually, glide back down. Okay. This is 85, so yeah, okay. Let's do that. Do some crack bricks. Cap that off. Okay. Now we've got the back wall here, pretty much at the height that it's going to. Okay. And see, now it has that same imposing feel to it. So we could kind of do something in the back here, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. In the front here, not the back. Now, you may wonder, well, if you know they're going to attack this way, why have the wall low? You want them to have progressive layers of defenses to have to fight through. So you want them to have to fight through the defenses on the wall. You want to have them fight through the gate. You want them to fight in the courtyard. And then when they finally start going into the keep, you want them to fight to try and enter the keep This is how castles are designed. They're not all about keeping people out. They're oftentimes more about slowing them down than anything else. So the longer a fight into a castle takes, the more the casualties are going to be. I know that's pretty morbid, but it's pretty much the case. Alright, now I know this area in the back here looks all intimidating and looks overshadowed, and the library over here has windows and is very, very warm and inviting and doesn't feel like you're in a castle even though you are. You can walk right up to them and look out. The upper level won't have windows in the same vein. It will still have some windows, but not like this. This back section here is going to have fake windows. And I use that very particularly because I want it to have a certain look. So there's going to be something hiding in this space, in the cutouts here, that makes it look like there's a window in the back. So, I know. Fun's up ahead. Alright, so this is Y level 81 right here at the top where this tower currently stops. Okay. Powerful rocket. This right here is currently Y level 100. So this tower is going to be the tallest tower in the whole thing. So if this is Y level 100 and the top of this tower is probably going to go up maybe another 20 or so blocks, that means that tower needs to go up to Y level 120 at a minimum before I even consider doing anything with the roof. I'm thinking probably closer to Y level 130. I could just go say, oh, I'm going to do Y level 150 and call it a day, and I don't need to worry about... I want to stick to that particular promise, 130, because it's more reasonable. It's less... Why do I have dirt? Scaffolding with me. Where did I put scaffolding? There we go. See, I have a lot of scaffolding planned. Okay. I want it to be more reasonable in terms of the design aesthetic. If that makes any sense. Let's grab you, and I will be doing stuff with the smooth basalt. Trust me, that's not been forgotten about. There we go. This. And then all the rest of this is stone brick. Alrighty. If I built this up to 150, it would just stick out. Its scale would be off. Already the scale of this tower is going to be throwing the whole thing off. So I'm going to have to incorporate some of these curves into the main design on that scale in order to make everything match. This tower, while it is a fairly large tower in terms of its width, giving it the height is going to be the tricky part. So... one moment, please. I have a quick text message to respond to. Okay, Okay. Caught up there. Sorry. I was responding to a text message. It was somewhat time sensitive. I do apologize. Okay. Let's bring this tower up to our decided Y level of 130. Yes, it is going to be a tall tower. But it will stand out in a way that's going to be beneficial, I think. Oh. We'll come around here. And it'll just continue going upwards. The thing with the towers in this build is I want each of them to have a certain character to them. Ultimately, is the having that character is going to be a really big influence in what the castle itself feels like. I want this castle to feel warm, but a little on the intimidating side, should anyone think of, attacking it. But that's usually how most castles were intended, is, well, when they're a place of communal shelter. Believe it or not, usually you didn't just have one person living in there. You'd usually have the lord and, all his servants. Which, that's not exactly the most PG or PC, is what I meant to say. But at the same time, they were the staff. Okay. This section right here is kind of not in alignment with the rest. So where it is right now is where it's going to... I don't want to try and limit myself to this particular shape here, so I'm going to ignore this pop out. It's done because down below it was necessary, but right here, I don't think it's as necessary anymore. Obviously, height and engineering principles do play a factor in designing this. You don't want something to be exactly the same width going up through its entire height. Otherwise, it doesn't look realistic. Trust me, that will change. So, with that said, I'm at Y level 90 here, and that is putting me at the point where I'm starting to pop up above everything else. I think at Y level 95 is when I start making the first of the structural changes to this. And trust me, these changes add so much to the character of the build. It is really surprising when somebody doesn't think about them, and then you just apply them and it just makes the whole build pop. So. Alright, it's 90. And when you're building these large gradients like this, the randomness of it eventually just blends together. So even though it doesn't look like I'm following a plan here, I'm really not. I'm just like, oh, maybe I should put one here next. This could go here. And I'll do 2 of those. Or 3 of these. So on and so forth. And really the randomness of it helps break it up in such a way so it's a little more understandable. Yeah. We're approaching an hour into the stream. I was hoping for this stream to be about 3 hours long. So the fact that we've gotten what we've done is quite nice, honestly. 94, so we need to go up one more block. Alright, we're 95 here. We are a bit above the floor level of what's over there. This is going to be a good flow into the tower itself if you were to provide access to it. This tower won't be accessible, generally speaking. In fact, most of the interior is going to just be a shaft. But that's because it's going to be a combination villager breeder, villager zombifier, and at the very top is going to be an iron farm. So, with that said though, let's start with the next level of changes to the shape. Now, when most people think, oh, you just make it a little bit smaller, you inset a single block. Don't do that. Okay? While it is practical and while it does work, it also has this unfortunate tendency to seem so fake. So, I'm going to show you what I like to do. Oops, did not mean to put that there. Let's go up 2 blocks from here. Don't like how it does that sometimes. Difficult to see what you've done. There we go. That's 90, 95, 98 blocks tall, okay? You see how you have just the inset here, but you have the corners continue to go upwards like that? This is actually a design principle in architecture and engineering in general, okay? You will usually have long, straight lines. Even though the building may begin to taper, those straight lines still remain straight. So I think I'm going to go up probably another 3. Let's see if it's 98 right now. Let's go up 5 blocks. That'll bring us to 103. And then I'll put in basically a superimposed new shape over this whole thing. And that will be the first dramatic change to the shape of the tower here. Rather than immediately beginning to like inset it a single block and whatnot. That just makes it look like it's this plinth that is very, very sturdy and utilitarian. It doesn't look very good. One example of what I'm talking about, look at the plinth that the Statue of Liberty is built on. I'm sorry, that was just a... Ew. I do not like that plinth. So, I understand the reason for it at the time. They only had so many materials to work with, etc., but I don't like it. It feels like it's trying to be the strongest thing in the entire harbor. It really does. And to me, that just is like, why? All right, so two. Hmm. Oops. How does this look? Of course, I totally butchered that, but whatever. That actually looks okay. Yeah, I think my initial instinct to go at 5 blocks was not practical. That was just four. What I just did is I went at 4 blocks. So, hello, Oliver. Thank you for tuning in. Right now, I'm just talking about the design concepts that can go into my castle. So, I'm about to make the first of the, frankly, serious structural changes to one of my towers. So, that said, bring in bricks like this to help guide everything up. Okay? Then you're going to, as I mentioned before, continue straight lines, but this time you're going to continue the straight line on the outside. So we're going to start, and I mentioned this specifically, start with 3 lines. Middle here. So, how are you doing today, Oliver? I'm just talking about the design concepts right now. So, there. We have, this is almost perfectly symmetrical. I love the 3 diagonal 2, 3 diagonal 2 shaped towers. I've done them several places. Variation of that. So I think this one, I've just gone up 2 blocks right now. I think I'll take this up to Y110. So. And please keep in mind, this is not going to be the final level of detail. There's so much more that's going to go into this. Good to hear, dude. So, I don't know if you're in the United States. If you are, how was your Thanksgiving? How's your weekend going? So, continue along here. Seven, I need to go 3 more blocks. And I do know by tapering it like this, I'm limiting myself, but really, I don't need that large of a space for the iron farm I have in mind, so. Let's do this. here, and there we go. This is Y110. If that's going to go up to Y level 120, that's going to be a really huge tower. This one's much, much thinner, and it's already begun to taper. And that does need to be accounted for. Now have, it's continuing the structural elements in very specific ways. So I'm actually of the opinion that I should not take it up much or higher than this. Because it's already going to be a tower, a towering tower. Ha 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 ha. No, it's already going to be a really, really tall tower. I might, because you also have to account for the fact of the roof. So if that's where the walls go, is as high as they go, yeah, I think I can live with that. Maybe it's because it's nagging at me, and it's one of those things that just sometimes bugs me. I'll go up this one more pair, so to bring this whole thing to Y112, and that will allow me to more accurately match the scale of everything else. Yeah, I think that'll do it. So, there we go. Now, obviously, since it's so far removed, I do need to... My computer's having fun. Those are just torches. There we go. Alright. Now that we've gone ahead and taken care of virtually everything except the main event, which is going to be the keep. Okay? We now have our scale. That's the important thing. We have our scale. There's one more area where I could work on, and that frankly is the tower up here. Which most of what this tower is going to have is going to be decorative stuff off the side of it. It's not going to be accessible. So having kind of like a almost a utilitarian like change to it, probably advantageous. I have the blocks for it. I can do it. Okay. So along the diagonal, let's bring it in one. Okay? Just along the diagonal. It's 4, 4, 4. Okay. Then we're going to go over, over, over. That is a more distinctive shape, but I think it will make more sense once the roof line for this particular portion of the structure's in place. So I'm not going to place anything there because that's my way up and down right now if I don't use my elytra. There we go. So then we'll carry this up. Well, this up here will probably not be a very commonly accessed room for me. It still might be one that I access occasionally. So, other just to be like, I know I could do an AFK spot or something here. Probably not, since it's just meant to be like a static farm. Okay. Let's go up this way. Oops. Work our way up like so. Sorry, I'm thinking in my head right now instead of thinking aloud like I should be. I apologize. I'm just counting what would make the most sense. If I go up a fourth block, yeah, let's do that. Probably the point where I could easily do, not want to worry too much about it. I know that the block of cracked is going to seem monolithic, but it's okay. There are occasional really large clusters when you're dealing with something intended to be random. Let's see how that looks from a distance. There it is. Okay, I can make that work. Oh. Okay, oops. Not quite what I had in mind, but that works. All right, now we need to look into the individual shape of what this, the ceiling, the roof on this is, the roof line for this is going to be. And to do that, I'm going to have to project up a portion of this build and or this particular structure in a very specific way. So if you're curious about how this works, feel free to ask questions. Unlike when you're in school, there is no such thing as a stupid question, especially when you're dealing with design and architecture like this. So, I never understood why every single teacher would say there's no such thing as a stupid question. Then you ask some of the most basic questions, and the reaction you get is terrible. Fill that out, max that out. Okay. Better. I missed that before. But now you see kind of what I have in mind. I'm going to be doing a converging quad steeple roof. But this is one of the ways that, especially in the architecture environment, things are fleshed out, is by just having the baseline here, okay? And now in the center here, I'm going to put kind of a portico turret thing up at the top. So, very, very center of this is the observer here. So, let's go out like so. There. Okay. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It seems a little small given the scale of everything for this, but it might match pretty well with the rest of this. So let's go up. To here. And this will allow us to then match the roof line to go into here, and this will stick out. So I think that's good. Okay. There we go. And now we can do, frankly, anything with this, but we can do some pretty cool stuff with this particular section of the shape. Alrighty. Oh yeah. That's looking much better. Now to add the depth and everything into the walls, with the way tonight's progressing, that's probably going to be a stream for later this weekend. I'm definitely taking advantage of the long weekend that I have, so yeah. There's that to consider in here. I'm thinking doing a little more terraforming here. I've already shaved down the top of this hill, obviously, but I think it might not hurt to take out, of course I put my shovel away, all this. So, and bring it down to the level of the garden and just make the garden a bit bigger. I think I can do that. Which would mean that I could more easily just continue this along here. And maybe have this be like a raised patio type thing. I don't know, there's endless possibilities. It's Minecraft, crying out loud. You can do pretty much whatever we want. So. We essentially make the rules here. Okay, so. So we can replace this dirt to create the stone wall that's needed here. I think, yeah, I'll shave this down. Exposes some granite, but that's okay. And this whole area was going to get filled in anyway, so there's no issues with, oops, issues with that. This is my original strip mine location, and I don't really use it. The strip mine entrance isn't really relevant anymore. Yeah, let's change course a little bit. Clean this area up so we can allow the grass to spread. Okay. This whole area is going to get cleaned up anyway when I turn it to stone brick, so that's not a big deal. I think for design perspectives, though, I am going to increase that just to create a more substantial barrier in this spot. Not that it's necessary, it'll feel better in terms of the space. With that said, my inventory has become cluttered again, so let's go clean it out real fast. That there, cobblestone goes in here. And I should probably restock up on materials before I start tackling the rest of it. So. Ooh, it's working. I have a random cracked stone brick and the one I fell in the stream. Oh. This is working. It's not meant to be hyper efficient, but it works. Okay. Just like the mob farm, it's not meant to be hyper efficient. It's meant to do a function. To do a very specific function and do it well. stock up again. Alrighty, let's actually go to the very top of here. It's my AFK spot. I chose these materials because they're all easy to break without a beacon. Just insta-break virtually everything here. So what I'm thinking, have right here be the main entrance hall, extend into this space, which could be like a grand ballroom area. I'm not going to do a throne room because I don't really feel that it's, going to fit the aesthetic I have in here. But sections of the castle will extend over, like for example, pretty much this wall is going to go across to here. Chunk of the castle is going to be over the top, not over the whole trading hall, but over part of the trading hall. And there's going to be this really interesting structural element that I put in there. And yeah. So best way to connect everything up probably actually is just to do that and connect that right there. Drill that across, but to create too straight of a line, I don't want to be constrained by forcing myself into straight lines every time. That might not actually be a bad idea. I could then extend the line out over in the overhang here. Yeah. Okay. Let's have some fun with the Enderman. Nope. Nope. Bad idea. Oh, he's still mad at me. Oh no, he's still chasing after me. Oh, random little diversion from building. Small break. And just drop the grass block. I don't know what I'm going to do with you, sheep. You've been there for, like, 2 months. Alright. Now that I've had my fun little diversion, yes, this is actually going to continue to be a part of that wall there. Do some more interesting terraforming in the area. So the thought process that I just had while I was down there looking at this is probably to have a straight line come over here and then meet this and be at kind of a interesting angle. Let's see what we can do to draw out that shape. So it's already going to basically be here. We'll draw out to here, which that's okay. Okay. So since this is going to be part of the floor, I'm not too worried about it. This is all going to be underneath, so that'll eventually get filled in. I would like there to be a more consistent feel to the approach here, but I want the walls in place before I do that. However, thinking about it, since this area is going to be courtyard, let's pick... here. As a good starting point for some of the outline. That tells me that basically across here will make sense to have a wall continue forward. You can have the walkway space come up this area. And I know I said I was going to put kind of like an entrance hall in here, and it will work. I think I have the room for it. We just need to extend this forward. Now, I'm concerned about creating too straight of a line here because I want to try and recreate some of the same shapes I have over there. So that would mean that right here, it's this. Okay. Also means that right here I have to add in that little break too. That was a sound. Don't know if it was picked up by the mic, but that happened outside. Interesting. Okay. Got this lined up right here. How long why do I want my entranceway to be? I'm thinking we just simply continue this forward, like this. And we do it at an angle, that. Yeah. And that could be our entranceway. So, of course, right here we would fill this in a bit. All right. That's looking good. Look at it from a bit up in the air for real fast. Yep. All right. I'm going to smash my head into a rock, apparently. I'm going to step away real fast. I apologize. I do not know what's going on today, but nature is calling. So I will be right back, and just give me 5 minutes. Apologies, everyone. Okay, I apologize, everyone. Oh, I strongly suspect that something is not agreeing with me today. So, we'll not go into any more detail. Alright. With that said, let's create at the level the walls for this are going to be. This are going to be a guideline for how we're going to draw everything out. So, I think, well, it would be nice to have kind of like this little cutout here. I don't need it to be that big. So starting here, we're going to basically bridge across a little bit. Oh, another Enderman. I think probably about here would be a good point to start angling it inward. To try and mirror that line that I inadvertently created there. And then we can... So what kind of shape do I want coming off of here? I can't do a whole lot. I don't want it to be like a huge aspect of the structure in here for that to be in it. One, two, three. This. I didn't inadvertently look at an Enderman, did I? I have another Pillager Patrol, though. Alright, now that we've brought this in, let's go a few blocks over. One block, a few blocks over. One block. Blocks over. I need to go one more, oops. And then let's line this up with, there we go. That way we can have like a broad window overlooking here. I'm not sold entirely on this right here, but we could probably do like a balcony or something over hanging from above. So layering your construction like this is always risky. I want to emphasize that. What I'm doing right now is, apart from the falling hazard, a risky design approach. Yeah, you can layer things easily enough, but if you want to also factor into the construction and structural makeup of them, now have encountered not an insubstantial amount of risk. I think I'll be okay. So, bring it out to here. Yeah. What was the original sequence? Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 5. 7 and 5. 5 that bump out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't want to do just a straight 90-degree turn here. In fact, I don't want to do that at all. This is the wrong spot. that will work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do here actually. I don't want them to line up. That's an important reasoning behind what I've done here. I don't want them to line up perfectly. To have some semblance of being nearly lined up is important. So with that said, I do want this to be a bit more accentuated like that. And then 1, 2, 7. Bring it basically in perfect vertical alignment with that. Yeah, that works. That works quite nicely. Okay. Now that we've got that lined up, can draw that back a bit in order to create the eventual line that's going to go here, but it's going to have to play with this part of it as well. No, actually, no. I'll just bring that straight up. It'll work just fine. Okay. A little bit of vertical building here. Not a big deal at all. Here. Okay. This may seem a little weird, but I can do a water. In fact, that's probably what I will do with this whole area is make a water feature. I can have a roof line coming off of this into the wall. Make it all seem a little bit more lined up as it's supposed to be. So most of this I'm just going to knock down right now. Only ever intended to be temporary. Here. I think we've got a good layout on those 3 sides. It's this last one right here that I'm worried about. So I do not really know what to do about section because I want to leave it as is. Yeah. Let's see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, 7. And continue along here. Place a torch there to ensure that's not going to be an issue. Yeah, okay, that'll work quite nicely. Okay, so we've got the garden down here with my little starter base. Go over here, and we've got the pretty good layout. I don't quite know what I will do. Actually, I am going to continue this over. This is... Yeah. I wasn't going to originally, but I don't feel like I have a choice. Let's see. Let's add expected to. I may just make this another tower. No, never mind. This is going to be at best an overlook. Yeah, no. This is going to be an overlook at most. Okay. That's fine. That is fine. Okay. So that in there. Okay. I've pretty much reached the point here where I can begin working on the roofs for the various sections. I can continue finishing off the details, or I can drag up all of these walls to the final prescribed height. I think that might be where I end up going with this. Because it will allow me to more effectively use a space, or more effectively decide what areas I need to cover out, what areas I need to block off, where I can put staircases and stuff. So yeah, most of what I'm about to do is not going to be visible to anybody. Okay, I want to emphasize that. So I'm not going to use a lot of decorative blocks, places where I don't have to. So, and you need to keep that in mind as well. Sometimes decorative blocks are expensive. So, fortunately these aren't. The blocks I'm using are not too expensive. But it is something to have to keep in mind. I've been trapped in builds with blocks that are just, I should never have considered them as a major mainstay of the building's palette. Turning off the light in this area. Place an extra torch. I can't do this area or drill this wall down until I get to the roof line for it done, so that's okay. Let's sleep real fast because, oh yeah, I was blown up by a creeper earlier. Yeah, I forgot that you guys could see those messages, but yeah, a creeper blew me up. Fortunately, this one's not hardcore, but yeah. It was not a fun time. Go ahead and land up here. Okay. It's definitely an unusual shape, but that's kind of the point. You don't want everything to be predictable, regular shapes. Otherwise it feels boring when you're building something over and over again. So, yeah. Alrighty. Now, the interior is going to be a whole different thing, but I think I can start doing some of the more anchor details, like the details that are going to go around the ballroom area that's going to be here. It's going to help make the space pop, stuff like that. So, when you're dealing with a limited space and you've got only so much to work with, having the ability to control what people perceive as a part of the room is important. I know I'm literally talking Architecture 101 right now, but it does bear saying. Because I'm about to do something that is going to, frankly, seem strange. Okay, now these are the outer walls. I left this here because it's actually going to be an important anchor point, and I should probably have a companion one start that's partway up, like that. Because they're going to build to a taper like so, and I'm going to build off of it. No, let's do that. Let's do... Actually, yeah, let's do that, because I'm going to replace that block. Okay. Now, with a lot of what I've done right here to add the overhang, it's to add in position, in depth. Well, this area, it's to do the opposite. Objectively, to do the exact opposite. It's not to add depth. Definitely for health and safety. It's, 3. It's to make the room seem much, much larger than it actually is. And to do that, we're going to have to go with a bit of sleight of hand. So, now, this could backfire on me, or it might not. Let's see. I'm doing all of this based off of, frankly, no measurements. None. Just doing it based off of what makes sense to me. So, always keep that in mind, okay? Do what makes sense to you. Don't feel that you have to follow what makes sense for someone else. Just because, oh, that's how you do it. If you're going to be stuck in that... This is perfect. If you're going to be stuck in that hole, you're going to feel like you're following a schematic. It's not going to be fun. You're going to be bored constantly. Yeah. So do what makes sense to you. Okay? And right now what's making sense to me is these 3 block wide pop-outs, which will be used for the framing of some windows. Since this is gonna, this here is the ballroom. It's kind of an unusual shape here, and it's gonna flow into another section of the castle. I think it does. It will be worthwhile to spend some time adding an overhang here, even though it won't be as relevant to this imposition and the design of the whole thing. It'll still work. There we go. Get a little speed and distance. Look at that. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely workable. Oh yeah. Not an issue at all there. Okay. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would you do that? Why would you create such a space like that if you're just going to put a window in there? You can't really add depth and anything in there. Yeah, you can. But not in the way that most people would think. So, before I continue with this, I actually need to go down and visit the stonecutter, because now it's time for me to use the first of the blocks apart from what I've been doing. Really wish there was the ability to use those, but nope. Okay. Now we have our next couple blocks that we're going to work with. So just some stone brick stairs and some stone brick walls. Nothing particularly special. I don't need that right now. Okay. It will make a difference, okay? Now this 2x2 doesn't make sense for it to be window. But these 3x3s very easily could be windows. How, though, you're probably asking yourself. Well, if we place a stone brick block in each of the corners just before we get to one of these 3 wide pop-outs, it gives us a point in which to put the next little bit of our design here, which is, of course, going to be an inverted stair block. Okay, you could put it here, but it won't line up quite how you should need it. Put it here, it also has the added advantage of providing depth to the overall shape. Okay, and coincidentally is also increasing the size of your windowsill, so factor that into your overall design. Okay, in my instance right now, it's not an issue. In fact, it could conceivably be, or could be very, very much easily argued as a feature. Then, 2 walls. Why 2, you say? Because it allows you to create that seamless transition into depth. We do the same thing here in these spots. Add that seamless transition into depth. Now we've got temporary windows, and with a glass pane here, pane there, we have a full window. Just like that, you've amplified the depth within your build. Okay, now I'm going to take this up. Since this is supposed to be a grand ballroom, I'm going to take this pattern, zigzagging back and forth up a few blocks. Probably. There we go. Oops, wrong block in space. I can't see what I'm doing. Really can't. Mildly frustrating. All right. This is annoying. Really annoying. Not just because I can't see what I'm doing, it's I can't judge how the blocks are going in, how if there's anything that I need to fix. May not seem like a whole lot. This is such a small trick, most people will overlook it. But think about it. You're just using a different width of block. And now you have these windows that go much higher than the floor. If I'm standing on the floor right here, yeah, that actually looks really good. Now, these are 3 block high. I think I'm going to top them out at 5 blocks high. So, nice tall windows to create an airy environment, but don't want them to be too high. Now to break this up, I'm also going to do something different for those. As I said, put it on my tombstone. It's forever a klutz. Yeah, forever a klutz. So, to break this one up, I'm going to do something a little different, okay? And it's going to be visible from the inside more than the outside, but it's still going to be somewhat visible from the outside. To top corner like that, place that, and then another wall block. Why, you might ask? Breaks up a pattern and prevents it from becoming monotonous. It also has... So it's very much the same effect as altering your block palette a little bit. It also has the added advantage of it looks like it's a vent. It looks planned. That is something that haphazardly, oopsied, happened. Well, they run out of this type of block, they switch to that one. No. Looks deliberate, even though it also is very simplified. Here. I don't know how I did that. That was not pure skill. That was just luck. Now you see, have this indent. Adds the extra layer of depth in there. And you can then put, like, what I want to do is I want to put mangrove trapdoors over the top of it to make it look even more planned, more intentional. So there we have it. We have the windows for the ballroom. Let's see. Probably the next step to this would be to close off the top of each window. Easiest way to do that is on the outside to do blocks like this, and then to do a bar across the top. I'm going to do something very, very particular with this. So it creates a much more cohesive ledge. And there's a wandering trader. So, and then I'm going to, across the top here, drag this across. I'm not too worried about this having that extra block there, but I don't want it there. I'm just going to be honest, I don't want the extra pop out there. That's the best way to say that. So here we're going to continue the wall up again. Then we're going to recreate this. So across. Where did you come from? Okay, I don't know where that skeleton came from, but that's going to be annoying to deal with. So here we're going to continue up this the wall look. If I get too much closer to him, he's probably going to shoot at me. Lovely. Well, let's just continue along. Do I have my bow on me? I do. You're worrying me. Figure out where he came from. All right. Oh, let's go over here. Continue our design. All right, let's do this. I'm not worried about this one. It's the one in the middle I really don't want. I'm going to replace this grab some slabs. So since slabs are half a block, you remember if you want just a full stack of slabs, do that. Just like that. We now have our finishing pieces. Also going to put one across here, like so, to continue this line. Make it look like it's more of an overhang. It'll be more important for the roof than this part of it, but still. Okay. Now, part of the reason why this is probably having an issue with mob spawning up here is, let's do that. Probably is having mob spawn up here, so let's do that and put a few torches up here. So this is taken care of, but this is basically the top of this wall. And see, we now have the walls for our grand ballroom. I can go over here, see that this could even continue this way. I'm probably not going to do that, though I probably will put a staircase in here. I'll just have a regular wall extend over here with a little bit of a balcony. Yeah. So there'll probably be a little balcony. This could be a staircase. Do a little terraform. Let's do a 4 wide staircase here with a little balcony overhanging in this area after you've gone down a bit. Do you have anything interesting? Nope. I didn't have anything interesting. Alright. So if we have this 4-block wide staircase going down, that means right here can be more wall for the overall castle. Which is fine. Okay. Extend this over, and this can be just like you walk down here, and you walk over here. Yeah, let's take a break from the castle walls, because frankly I'm starting to get cross-eyed from it. I say that as I literally start placing a few more blocks, but these are going to be kind of hidden in here. This is all going to be a part of the courtyard that's being created here. Yeah. And no, this wall is not going to get detailed right now. So because it's just not time for it. Don't know if this is going to be the final design for this section of wall, because it's obviously going to be one of the more boring pieces of wall. All right. We have this here. You walk over. Break all this grass so it's not in the way. I can always place more grass and bone meal it if I need to. Okay, over here. The easiest way to do this is just have like a piece of a hedge to divert them, or to divert people walking in this direction, and then have more. Have another. How wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 5. Let's do 3 wide. Planters on either side. I mean. Once you get down here, let's fill this in a bit. I feel that it would be, I can do a little more terraforming and make this a little more even. I think it would make the most sense for this to actually be 2 blocks tall. If you walk down. But thinking about it, I would probably want to put like a azalea or something in there, make it seem like it's a hedgerow. So do that along that side, and I can replace that wall with something a little more substantial when the time comes. Come out here, we'll have the water feature. Oh, I just placed a bunch of this, but I forgot about the water feature for a second there. Yeah, flowing around here, and then it can flow off to the side. So this has got to go. Okay, and then it'll flow around here and create a nice little waterfall, which we can control a little bit. Like so. Flow around. It'll take some fiddly stuff with water, but honestly, I'm gonna grab a water bucket. Rocket is way too powerful. I've got buckets somewhere. I know this runs the risk of making a huge mess, and I don't care. I think it'll be cool. All right. Spreads out like so. Curves around and flows down. Where does it flow down to, though? Flows into the cave. And through here. Thing of importance down here. Nope. It just flows down here. Okay. Means I can play with a few things then. Part of the terraforming, I think I'm going to turn this into a lake down here. Being supported by a rock spire, or having with a spire of rock that supports that. Go up here. Spread out here a little bit, not like I had hoped it would. You can mess with the water physics in Minecraft pretty easily just to make it flow where you want it to flow. You just have to be a little forceful with it. But sometimes you will need to put in another water source, which is where I think I might have reached the limit of what I can do with that. What I wanted to do. Can I get away with this? Push it forward a little bit. If I do that, it'll have the desired effect. And not sure how I feel about that one. Yeah, that's what I'm running into here. What if did something like that? That won't really affect it much. I mean, it fills out the area easily enough. Creates It's a nice little rapids like it's supposed to, easily enough. But I can make this work. I'm gonna have to play around with this because the water physics are being difficult with me right now, but yeah, I can make this work. So. Alright, let's take a look at this progress on the main keep of the castle. It is progress. It definitely is progress. So, unfortunately, it's starting to get late here, and I am getting tired, but we've gotten a lot done. So I think in the next stream, we will finish up the main section of the keep here and build up the walls for the keep to where they are finally going to be, at least for this section. Yeah, we've made a lot of progress today, though. We really have. So I think maybe off stream I'll play around with the terraforming a little bit, and I might work on the floor, or at least the floor plan of the keep a bit. So there's a couple things that I would like to do with it that are going to take some time to play with. But with that said, thank you everyone for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. This has been Wolf, and have a good night.